Cool, yeah, so not a topic that we normally cover, but somebody was asking earlier, how do you pass? So we're gonna kind of go over what to do with slower riders, what to do with kind of intermediate riders that are close to your ability level, and kind of do's and don'ts of how to be polite at a track day or a school day. This is definitely not like race pass school. This is like typical track day, courtesy, passing, that sort of stuff. So new riders, here we have like a left-hand hairpin that's kind of like the sandbox down there. New riders, if we're going to generalize, they tend to turn in too early and tend to run wide. It's a little squiggly circle. Yeah, that's about right. The biggest mistake that I see riders do when they're faster than the rider in front of them is they just follow them really tight into the turn. And then the slowest part of the turn, they can't do anything about it because they're just too close to the rider. So what you want to do is if you're following a rider, give yourself a little bit of space. This is the easiest kind of scenario when they're going to turn in way too early. You can just simply come in deeper, what's known as squaring them off, and then come in here and you'll get a much better drive. I mean, it's a better, faster line, period, but this is the easiest, safest way. The reason beginner riders are going to tend to run wide on the turn. So what you really don't want to do is try to is just kind of follow them tight and then go around the outside. You're basically just asking to get hit on that. You know, you get spooked or whatever, they're going to be really likely to run wide on you. So easiest way, let them turn in, go a bike length deeper, and then get it, square it up, get a fast transition, and just pass them on the gas. Intermediate rider, generally speaking, the easiest way when somebody has a decent corner speed and a decent line. So now here's the person that we're passing this time. We'll give them kind of a relatively neutral kind of line here. All right, so they've got a pretty good line. They're not bringing it super deep out here. Racers will tend to protect their inside line by coming in nice and tight. And this, in an intermediate rider, usually the weakest part of kind of intermediate level supermoto riders is braking. So quite honestly, where you wouldn't want to like just say, you don't want to stuff anybody. But frankly, if somebody has a pretty good transition speed and pretty good lines, they're going to be a little bit harder to square up, especially if they're protecting this inside line exiting. And it is possible in this case just to come up the inside. But there's a big if to this. And that is if you're going to basically come in the inside and then make this pass, make absolute sure that the pass is going to happen, or at least enough that they're going to see you before they're turning. Otherwise, you're simply stuffing them and taking their line. So that's something to be avoided there. Another thing with intermediate riders, you might still be able to do the same kind of square up thing that we just talked about. But the difference is that pass will happen in the middle of the straightaway. It won't necessarily happen right there. All right, so in this case, they've got a good line, they're good riders, they're not doing anything super kooky or anything like that. And what you can do is you might just turn in just a little bit deeper than they are. Try to tuck in underneath. Now, in reality, if you see a bunch of photos, I always take photos like this, and it looks like a drag race, right, as you're kind of coming off the turn. Now, this rider is behind this rider, but this rider passed this rider here. It's just not going to happen until right here. Does that make sense to you guys? So this rider just being able to have a little bit faster transition, a little bit better drive, maybe got on the gas a third of a second, half a second earlier. If you can get on the gas a half second earlier, that pass is done. The pass has happened. It's not going to happen until halfway down the straightaway, but this rider in blue will be able to just walk, basically 2 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour right past that other rider, add a little bit later braking, and you can make a pretty safe pass. So basically the pass happened in this corner, but didn't actually happen until halfway down the straightaway. All right, now let's talk about riders that are good, riders that you're really evenly matched with. Frankly, a lot of times it's going to depend upon the other rider making a mistake. You might simply need to just apply a lot of pressure and then wait for them to make a mistake. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I did for years and years and years is I would watch the rider in front of me make the mistake and not capitalize on it because I was watching the rider in front of me. And the thing that riders always do is they'll follow looking at the rear tire of the rider in front of them. So two things can happen. Worst case scenario is they crash, you target fixate on them and you run them over. And the less worse scenario is you're following them, and they make a mistake, and by the time they recover, you just watch them make the mistake. But if you're right behind them, kind of applying pressure, look at where you want your front tire to go in the case that they make a mistake or drift wide or lose a little bit of grip or whatever the case base is. So that way you're already looking there and you're able to capitalize right on that. So there's a little kind of generic, quick summary of how to make passes for beginner riders, intermediate riders, and more advanced riders. What's up, guys? Brian with the corner cam. It is beautiful. It's Saturday, small class. Most people are at State Line. Get it, buddy. It's another beautiful day. It's like 66 degrees or something. I don't know. It's awesome. I'm setting up a new personal bike. It's time to retire Christine. She's too old. And that's it. We're about to ride some dirt. Right now they're working on lines and we're gonna get some photos for photo review. And just another beautiful day out here. I think we have the 16th is open. Next weekend sold out, so I hope you can come out and join us. Without further ado, corner cam. Brake check. You guys getting dizzy yet? I'm getting a little dizzy. Woo! Guess what time it is? Send it, Cam. Send it! Woo! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Gary, get it. Woo! Nice. Yeah! Whoa, stand up! Woo! Yeah, the guy in the Alpine Stars, that dude. First day on dirt, and he just launched it like 472 feet, or I mean, right there about. Yeah, just another beautiful day out here. It's nice and cool and cloudy. Everybody's stoked. I'm stoked. Hopefully you're stoked. And nothing to report, other than going around in squiggly circles and having a good time and blowing time while they come back around for some more. Send it, Cam. Action. Here we go. Yeah, send it. Yeah. Oh, the battle. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Oh, somebody's getting fancy out there. Yeah, we got a 690 Sunder. Yeah, buddy.